What did a crush do that made you immediately lose interest? I went on 2 dates with a girl when I was in college. She was wonderful but immediately wanted to be official and started drafting Instagram posts about us. She wanted to spend every day together and have sleepovers every night. It was so out of nowhere and we literally knew nothing about one another. I tried to look past it but she asked me to be her first and I got uncomfortable. She seemed naive and I didn't want to take advantage. I suggested we take things slow and she took offense. I cut things off and her reaction was super childish. All of this in a 3-week period. Sweet girl, but the pacing was off. I partly blame those crazy teenage drama shows where everyone is telling each other they're in love and no one knows you like I do. In the first week of a relationship, my stepdaughter got me into the Vampire Diaries. I feel so silly. I'm on the 3rd season and how it never occurred to me that the timeline is the span of a year. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Come up with a realistic show where you've got 7 years with someone only to find out that you have no clue who they really are. I've been hurt, lol. She told me her future plans to essentially become a gold digger like her mother. When I laughed it off, she couldn't see what I thought was so funny. Step 1, maybe don't confront the guy with it like that. If he didn't have money, why would she care? She generalized everyone. She was also such a bitch to everyone that she didn't understand. He plays video games? Wow. When do you think he'll move out of his mother's basement? Wow. She wears so much makeup, can you imagine what she's hiding under that face? Just such a mean-spirited person and it completely turned me off. Fuck. I had a friend like that. Extremely judgmental. She always said, "What? I'm blunt, you know that." But God forbid anyone was ever blunt with her. I eventually stopped talking to her. She wasn't blunt, she was bitchy. This is the same friend that told me my anxiety and depression were all in my head and I could make it go away if I really wanted to. Ironically, a few years later she started having panic attacks and meltdowns and had to take the same meds she told me I didn't need. He was making fun of a disabled woman. Instantly not interested. Played hard to get. No thanks. If you're gonna ghost me for days at a time and then get pissed off when I don't respond in 5 seconds, then that's not my problem. Shows how hard to get can easily turn into hard to want. Yeah, it's a real quick 180. Crush comes to my house. I explain how I'm slowly remodeling it and my plans for my house. She then starts telling me I shouldn't and I should do it her way, and let her take it over and let her design, decorate, and do it all. The hell I will. I ran into an old crush a few years back who told me he was into dog baiting. The candle had blown out a long time ago as far as my crush was concerned, but that pretty much killed any intention I had of trying to restart our friendship. I'll bite. What's dog baiting? From my experiences seeing this sort of shit in the Philippines, you'd have a dog in a cage chained in the middle, and an animal, like a cat or whatever, would be thrown in. The dog is trained to maul the fuck out of the victim animal. I believe bets are placed on how quickly or slowly the dog can kill the victim. He would steal people's tips off the bar counter when we were at a bar together with friends. Then he would offer to buy me food with it. No thank you, bartender here. I'm confident these people will burn in whatever hell awaits. Also, if you're at a bar with a bouncer, this is an easy way to get your face dinged off the doorframe as you're escorted out and told never to come back. Agreed. It was gross. I didn't let him buy me anything and quickly didn't associate myself with him. Kicked a dog. Instantly lost all attraction. He talked about how he wanted to loosen up some boring family at a wedding reception, so he spiked their drinks with party drugs. Did you go on a date with Bill Ponderosa? Pondy is the coolest. Said, why do you hang out with that N anyway? Hard R. Oh gee, I don't know, maybe cause he's been my best friend since 2nd grade and always has my back. That was enough for me to realize she's ugly. Not a crush but an ex jiggled the door handle while I was taking a shit and then got angry that I would let her in. Why can't I come in? Are you not comfortable with me or something? We're dating. It had been 3 days. I'd be upset if my BF locked themselves in the bathroom for 3 days. He started dating one of my friends after I told her that I had a crush on him. She tried hooking up with every guy she knew I had a crush on. I felt like I couldn't like anyone. Edit, this was back in 2012. We're not on bad terms, but I rarely speak to her now. You should have picked a guy you absolutely thought was disgusting and then tell her you had a crush on him, lol. I would. Bait and switch, bitch. My family is Jewish, and my grandfather survived the Holocaust. On the second date he told me he was a neo-Nazi, or at least on the path to becoming one. When I told him I was Jewish, and also politically very left, he told me that he wanted to fuck the commie out of me. Never spoke again. She told me that spanking her teenage daughter didn't work, because it wasn't satisfying enough. It's amazing how much horrible stuff you can fit in one sentence. Gave me a 5-minute lecture on conditions where cheating is okay. I doubt that they'll make sense, but I'm curious what the proper conditions are. If your family is being threatened. If it stops nuclear war. If it is you and your partner's fetish, not really cheating. If it saves your life from some life-threatening disease. Yeah. We were driving down the road and she threw a Starbucks cup right out the window. Gross. He wouldn't talk to me in person for some reason. This is me in high school. Captain Anxiety takes over. This is me at age 31. Made fun of my smile. Edit, thank you everyone for all of the kind comments. Everyone's smile is beautiful because it shows that you are happy. Thank you for my first silver. And my first gold. Smile. This, and making fun of somebody's laugh are two of the most fucked up things that a person can do. It serves no purpose except to make someone feel self-conscious every time they are enjoying themselves. Agreed. I had someone point out that my nose twitches when I talk and laugh, and not in a that's cute way, more of a guys look her nose twitches when she talks. Luckily I forget about it most of the time, but 2 years on and it still bugs me. I made it 20 years not knowing time. Ask me to be their wingman because they had a crush on my best friend. Oof, same thing happened to me. Then when I moved on he started being sexually inappropriate and bullied me, only when my best friend and my boyfriend weren't around. To this day I'd why I was ever attracted to someone like that. Chat on a stage in Lloret in Spain. Haha, can you give us a little story behind that? A woman I was talking to was recently divorced and had moved back in with her parents. She already had a child and a couple pets and was talking about getting another pet, and her parents told her no. She chose to go ahead and get another pet anyhow, and basically her parents began pushing her out the door. And it was a stressful situation for her, and I suggested she talk to her folks. However, once she told me she was grown and made her own decisions and did not care about their rules, I suddenly understood and quickly lost interest. A massive turn off for me are people who genuinely don't give a shit about their parents or their opinions when their parents aren't oppressive or hurtful in any way. Sometimes it's hard to tell. My GF was a bit worried when she first heard me talk to my mom on the phone. She said I sounded so cold, and short, and rude. Then when my mom started lashing out and attacking her, she realized that grey rocking is what you gotta do with someone like that. Co-worker at work had just a beautiful energy, absolutely lovely to be around, always smiling at everyone, and she would laugh at my jokes, and she made some comments from time to time that made me feel validated and understood, which was very flattering, like she guessed my passions in life and told them to me, with a big smile while looking me in the eyes, and I'm a reserved guy who doesn't share that stuff. All just very lovely. One day we're in the break room and she's talking to another guy the same way, and I'm consciously talking myself out of being jealous. You're not dating or anything, you don't even have her cell phone number. She's allowed to be lovely with other people now, come on, no reason to be jealous. Then when the guy leaves, she turns to the girl next to her and says, God, I hate that guy. And I had just been jealous that she was treating him exactly like she treats me. I still feel foolish when I think about it, like, does she like me or hate me? I had a co-worker like that. I wasn't interested in her, but she became what I thought was a very good friend. A year or so later and she'd found a way to one-up me with the boss and the mask came off. All after I'd trusted her, had drinks at her place with her fiancé and dog, etc. Then I watched her do this exact same thing to every new person using the same stories and tactics. Narcissism is no joke. I had a harmless crush on a married friend that I did not signal or act on, ever. I've been the spurned wife before. I kept my distance and did everything short or unfriending him on Facebook. He slid on into my DMs right after my separation became public knowledge. He was still married to his wife. I didn't respond. They are divorced now. She's a really lovely person and deserves so much better. The bro code is unisex. Greater than the bro code is unisex. Sisters before misters. Was pretty rude to and consistently teased his roommate's dog. Just be nice to animals. Not that hard. Got so drunk at a party that she shit herself. The smell is really what did it. A guy who was a straight up doppelganger for Bradley Cooper had a massive crush on me. He was funny, smart, educated and accomplished. I could never get over how I had, on 2 separate occasions, seen him piss himself drunk. Just like in A Star Is Born. I had a crush on a guy in high school who was a little bit of a rebel. Nothing serious but definitely had a bad boy thing going on. One day in class the teacher told him to do something minor and he flipped out, basically had a temper tantrum and refused. Totally killed all interest by being an asshole for no reason. Yeah, sometimes the types who yell F/CK the system can be funny from afar, until they pitch a fit over something minor. I watched a pretty charismatic guy I thought was just BSing around nearly get kicked out of all-state choir because he refused to wear his high school's concert attire. He showed up in formal wear, and brought the clothes from his school, but didn't change into them until the last minute just so he could make a scene about how he was sticking it to the man. I wasn't super into him, but he'd been pretty cute and his shtick had been almost endearing at first. After that I wanted nothing to do with him, and I think a lot of people who had just met him there felt the same way. No one really stood up for him during the whole debacle. Claimed women were only a sex relief for men and couldn't be as smart as them. Then proceeded to ask me to have sex with him. Edit, since some people are asking, copy-pasting from another comment of mine about what happened afterwards. I asked him if he has a lot of sex. Yes, of course. Then you can go ask another girl, because I am not going to have sex with you. We were out. He bugged me 2 hours and a half, I am not kidding you, it was actually that much time, trying to convince me that having sex with him was going to be the best experience in my life. I let him talk 2 hours, even pretended to almost be interested, then at the end of his rant I repeated I would rather die a virgin. He was pretty offended. Greater than and couldn't be as smart as them. Then proceeded to ask me to have sex with him. I'm smart enough to never have sex with you, bruh. For context, him 6'4", built dude me, 5'0" non-built lady. We were hanging out at his house when he jokingly blocked my way when it was time for me to go and wouldn't let me pass. I asked him to let me by, when he wouldn't, I told him I was uncomfortable and he called me a crazy bitch. That was the end of that for me. That is a huge red flag. Creepy. Sounds like he was testing the waters. That'll be a hard no from me, thanks. We would be great in person, both of us would have a laugh and genuinely had an amazing connection, but trying to get a text back takes days. It's really difficult to arrange to spend more time together when she barely replies to me. I massively lost interest after this.